Hi everyone, Ultrapro here. As obviously you're all aware, I've finally managed to get my video capture working properly. I hope you've all been enjoying the videos. They're a lot better quality than they were. Used to be handycam, you know, standing the mobile phone on the table in front of the TV and just hoping for the best. But now what I do is I connect the Dreamcast or the PlayStation or the Xbox to the laptop via my RCA or composite cables. And they are the red, white and yellow ones, or the S-Video, because I have a capture card that connects to the laptop. Long story short, I'm now able to capture video successfully, although my laptop is really starting to run slowly, so I'm having to use my desktop at the moment. Regardless of that, I've obviously had loads of consoles over the years, and the one thing that's been niggling in my mind since I solved the dilemma of my video capture was that I had one of these, and I have all of these: Master System, Mega Drive, Mega CD, and I can't capture from any of them because I have the woefully inadequate RF leads. Now, what I was not aware of was that you could get cables for these consoles that can actually output to SCART. They can output to RCA composite. So I've managed to sort out some cables that will allow me to do that. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story was the ridiculous challenges of trying to get this thing to work. Now, just very briefly, I had the Mega Drive, I had the Mega CD, I had the Master System. I never bothered buying one of these. It was too expensive at the time. It was a lot of hassle. There were no games for it that I could be bothered to buy. I got into my Jaguar, I got into my Mega CD, Mega Drive, Saturn, PlayStation 1. No room for this, no time for this, no money for this, so I didn't bother. So, a year and a half ago, a friend of mine from work decided that he was clearing out some shit from his house and he had found this, and he knew straight away that I would probably be interested in it. He basically just gave me this unit and Virtua Racing Deluxe on the 32X. So I had that, and I had the Mega Drive. And I, being the somewhat naive guy that I am sometimes with these consoles, I just assumed that you could simply plug the 32X into the Mega Drive, plug your power, plug your RF cable, connect it to the TV, and that was it. You just powered it on and it worked. You put the cartridge in first, obviously powered it on. No. Doesn't work. Doesn't work like that at all. You need much more equipment than that. Loads more equipment than that. What basically ended up happening was I began investigating online into why I couldn't get this to work. And the only game that I had to test it was the VR Deluxe racing game. The information that I started getting was all wrong, basically. What I was under the impression was that the VR Deluxe racing game wouldn't work with the Mark 1 setup. It wouldn't work with the Mark 1, it had to have a Mark 2. The reason I believed this was because sometime I read that the Mega Drive 1 didn't have a VR chip or a graphics chip that allowed it to do polygons, and that only the Mega Drive 2 had that. And that the VR racing game required that in order to work. Obviously what happened then was I decided that I needed to get a Mega Drive Mark II. And then in order to get this to work with the Mega Drive Mark II, you needed a spacer, because this piece of plastic here is too big, because the Mega Drive 1 is a lot thicker, a lot deeper than the Mark II. So when you put this in the Mega Drive 1, it fits perfectly. However, with the Mark II, it's a lot thinner, and so obviously then it would be more like this in the Mark II. It would be just sort of not fully in, and it would just wiggle and be loose. So you needed a spacer. So I, oblivious to everything else, went looking for a spacer and a Mega Drive Mark II. Started contacting this guy on eBay for a spacer. I saw a spacer in a bundle of his that he was selling. And he set me straight. He basically explained that VR Deluxe worked on any Mega Drive model, and that all you needed was more cables to get this to work. You needed plug this into the Mega Drive. If you want the Mega Drive, Mega CD and 32X together at the same time, then that's great. You just plug that into the Mega CD, power the Mega CD, power the Mega Drive. Then what you need to do is cable goes from the Mega Drive Mark 1 from there to the AV in port on the Mega Drive 32X. Then you have a cable that goes from the AV out port to the TV. So the AV is no longer controlled by the Mega Drive, it's controlled by the 32X. You also need an additional power supply. So if you're going to have all three together, you have to have three bloody massive power supplies plugged in. So I started negotiating with him and talking to him about the cables that I needed, and he managed to hook me up, and I managed to finally, after a lot of head scratching, a lot of complications and a lot of difficulties, I managed to get it to work. So I basically just wanted to make this video so that those of you out there who have this and want to get the bastard to work but can't, so that the video will basically show you how to connect it up, what you need to do so, how it actually works, where you might have gone wrong, and hopefully once you've watched the video you'll be able to get it working and you'll be able to play on the thing and you'll actually be able to enjoy it instead of hating it and having it living in a box and driving you crazy like a little splinter in the back of your mind. I'm in your box but I don't work, ha ha, like that. So hopefully you'll enjoy this next part of the video where I show you how to connect it and what parts you need and how it all works. So I will be back in a moment. So next part of the video is how to actually set up the system, how to get the bastard working, and how to actually get it to play on your TV, because it is actually a ridiculously complicated process. So obviously I explained how it actually is going to work, so I'm just literally going to do it now. So I'm going to run all three connected at the same time. So Mega Drive, Mega CD Mark II and 32X. Plug my 6-button controller in. Now, this is the most important part of the video. Obviously I had, for whatever reason, simply been using these, the RF lead. I hate this. This for me is one of the worst inventions of all time for video games. You would sit there, you'd plug this piece of shit into your TV, you'd lose all your TV channels because obviously you unplug the RF cable, and if you had a pretty old TV you had to retune them every time. You had to tune the damn thing to find the Mega Drive picture or the Master System, and it's just a real arse ache, a real pain in the arse. So what the guy on eBay sent me was a wonderful little cable that will actually allow you to send the picture to your TV via SCART, or as I was talking about earlier, the RCA/composite cables. Now, I may have made a couple of minor mistakes. Actually, they weren't necessarily my mistakes. It's just been like misunderstandings or whatever. I mentioned the guy that I had been speaking to on eBay. He explained all the stuff that I needed. So I'm just going to put together the system and show you what you need and where it all goes. So you've got your Mega Drive power, and you plug this into the back of the Mega CD, like so. Bear in mind that I want all three of them working at the same time. So what I'm doing is connecting all three up, powering all three up. Mega Drive connected, Master System Mega Drive, Mega CD connected. Now, the other power supply that you must have, that I mentioned earlier, was for the Mega Drive 32X, which is like this. This also powers the Mega Drive Mark II, so if you've got a Mark II, then you'll be well away with this, but you'll need two of them. Because, as I mentioned earlier, when I got this, I only got the unit. I didn't get the power supply or the cables. So that then goes in there. So, what you now need is a set of these. These are called the AV connector cables. And what basically happens is, this ridiculously fat end goes in the back of the Mega Drive Mark I. Goes in like so. And then you connect this up to that, because this cable actually arrived, this came to me together. I didn't know that you could split the cable there. I didn't know that you could split it. I was just under the impression that it was a cable, because I can be a bit thick sometimes and I make those sorts of mistakes. So this is what you need, and you plug that in to the back of the 32X in the middle port, which is called the AV in. So then you've got power to the Mega CD, power to the Mega Drive, power to the 32X, cable connecting the Mega Drive and the 32X, and then your newly bought AV out cable, which goes from the 32X to your TV. So then, in theory, from now on, you can play games from all three consoles in the same little setup. You've got 32X, Mega Drive, Mega CD. So, we're going to start with Mega Drive. Plug that in. For the sake of ease of use, I'm going to use the SCART, and this is really pathetic, I know, but I only have the one hand at the moment, and it's a bit bloody awkward. Hold on. Right. Okay, so that's all set up, and that just goes into the back of the TV, like so. Eventually. Okay, so now on we go. Okay, that worked first time. You guys are lucky, you've just witnessed a miracle. Normally the first time I turn the 32X on, the picture is atrocious, and it requires about half a dozen rejigs before it actually displays a picture properly. Once you get it working, it actually becomes a bit more reliable over time, because you get it working for longer and it gets used to it more. So that's kind of negated one of the parts of the video that I was going to show you, but never mind. The other major thing is that there's no sound. Now, because it's a Mark 1, it only does mono sound, and the cable that I've got, I have been told, is for stereo, and for whatever reason it's not conveying the sound properly. So sometimes, every now and again, I have a little spark of genius. What I decided was, screw you, and screw you. You're obviously not working, so voila, there is this, coming from the Mega Drive, and then there is this, which is the headphone jack. Now, I already have a cable that I like to use. It solves a lot of problems for me, and basically it starts in the 3mm jack and ends in the red and white. So you can see where I'm going with this. So if you get sent the wrong AV cable for the Mega Drive and 32X, like me, and that's no reflection on the seller, I feel a bit stupid. I had the TV on mute, so anyway, never mind. So the last part of the video is everything working. Mega Drive game works through the 32X. Mega CD game. Hello. What's going on? I really don't want to have to buy another copy of Solfease. Okay, it's a bit random. Here we have one of the many wonders of the 32X. It being a little bastard, not wanting to work properly. Magical little system, really. Can be a little tiny, weeny whiny little bit unreliable. Better. And I heard the disc making a noise. And there we go, it's working. Right. I absolutely adore this game. I think this is one of the best shooters ever made. The music is phenomenal. I'm probably going to do a video about this game, just because I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing of beauty and history. The music is amazing. It's a good thing about the Mega CD. Anyway, last but not least is being able to show that 32X games now work as well. There we are. So that is all 3 video games working via 32X. You've got the 32X game, you've got the Mega Drive game, you've got the Mega CD game. Now you have to remember, this is very important for the 32X, and the 2 cables that are also connected, what they call the connector cable, which runs between the Mega Drive and the 32X, and the video cable, audio video cable, must come out of the 32X to the TV. No other cables required except for the power to the Mega Drive and the Mega CD. If you have the same problem that I had with no sound, the quickest solution is to get a headphone cable that goes from 3mm jack to red and white, and then just plug that in its place. It's a bit messy, there's lots of cables, you've got the ridiculously large power supplies, but yeah, all in all, once you get it working, you should be able to enjoy the wonders of the Mega Drive, the 32X and Mega CD. So I hope you enjoyed, I hope you found this informative, and obviously I will speak to you soon. Any feedback will be greatly appreciated. Okay, thanks, bye.